Welcome, League of Pop Evil, to Linea Rock and virtually to Milan.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be back. I wish I was there in person, but it's different times, right?
Yeah, right. You've been in our studios like 6 years ago. So
yeah, it's been too long.
yeah. So Lee, first off, I want to ask you, how are you? Where are you? And, if it's safe and quiet in your neighborhood, since in the last few days we saw on the news that there's a lot going on the streets over there.
Yeah, I'm in Michigan. I was actually in Los Angeles, finished the record, and they were going to shut down California. So I flew home to Michigan, which is where I'm from originally, so I could be quarantined with friends and family. So everyone's safe. Hopefully things are starting to open up here now. Hopefully things can come back to normal a little bit, one day at a time, I guess, and we can hopefully get back to playing shows here soon.
How did you spend your time, during the lockdown? And did you find it, in a sense, cathartic, or it was a torture for you?
At first, it was torture, for sure, because we were supposed to be on tour and gearing up for rehearsals with a new album. So that was really, that was a negative. That was a bummer for us, for me personally. But now I've kind of set in, and you always want time off. So I guess I got it now. So I'm trying to make the most of it with family and the kids, the nieces, nephews, and the kids around my family are all excited because I'm home and I can play video games with them or whatever they want me to do. I have all the time in the world now. But it's been good. I've been just finishing up the record, doing little things to polish and get ready there. I've been doing a lot of these interviews and this new normal with social media, and just trying to play acoustic versions of these songs, and especially our older catalog, and engaging fans that way. So it's been different, but it's been fun. I'm trying to embrace it.
About the record, which you actually stopped, working on because of the lockdown. Where is the record at the moment now? And do you have a date? Do you know when exactly it will come out?
Yeah, I mean, we're close to being done. We got a little bit of just, I guess, icing on the cake, little things to finish, but it should be done here as things start to reopen. Hopefully we can get the final touches done sooner than later. But as far as a date, no date yet. We're just trying to just take it again with this pandemic, just take it very slowly and make sure that everyone's safe. And as soon as we know kind of more on release details, obviously we'll let everyone know. But right now, just trying to keep the band members safe, and just worry about our families and our personal issues, right? Just do that. And then, of course, as things open up, let's try to get it done. We want it out. Obviously, we want to be back on tour.
Leigh, now we're going to play Let the Chaos Reign,
sure.
One of the new songs, which is a very heavy track. And it's a song, of struggle that invites, people to stand up, to face, any challenge with courage and strength. How would you introduce it to us? And actually, it's a very, up-to-date song.
Yeah.
Seems to talk about, what we're living now.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the bigger the band gets, we're always writing songs thinking about our fans in mind. And, this is one song that was written with our live show in mind. I think there's nothing cooler about being in a rock band than being on stage. Festivals, especially when you're overseas there in Europe, that the European festival is so... it's inspired us. When we come home, obviously the festivals in America are growing, but the European festivals have really inspired us, and the way people love their metal and rock your way is awesome. So that song was just totally written for a mosh pit and just live to let people just cut loose and not have it be relatable to this pandemic. It's crazy how sometimes you write and predict the future in some ways, but it's a powerful song about, like you said, I mean, take that enemy or that rival on full force and, let the chaos reign, because we're going to go till we get it done and we can get back to some kind of normal. So now we're all kind of united in fighting against this virus. And it's awesome to have a song like this that can really hopefully lead to a positive and bring more people together. So, I mean, it's stoked, in the way the response has been on this song. It's a loud and proud cry that our fans want Pop Evil heavy and they want it loud. So let the chaos reign.
So Leigh, you're still young, but you've been around since 20 years now, and you've been dominating, stages and the charts all around the world already for 12 years. You have 600 million streams worldwide, which are a great achievement for any band, but also like a burden, to carry on your shoulder, especially when new music, has to come out. However, it seems that, with Pop Evil, it's not a problem, you're always on top. But at this point of your career, what's stronger, like the joy of, this huge success, or the anxiety, to maintain such a top level?
It's a great question. I think this is a combination of both. I mean, there's a pressure with the older back catalog that you have a fan base built up, so they have an expectation. But as a band member and as a musician and just as a creative being, you want to always write new music. The honesty about, I think, where it is for me now and our band is about our live show. If you come to our show, we want as many songs to be heavy and full of rock and metal influences, but we also want to challenge ourselves with another song we put out like Work. We're trying. It's interesting. The bigger your band gets, the more musical friends you have, and the musical friends come from all these different genres. And every sports guy or other genre musician I meet always loves, and they're always interested about rock and metal. And I always kind of joke with them. I'm like, well, we come from a genre that has a saying called rock and roll is dead, but everyone wants to know about what we're doing. So it's like, it's interesting how we always challenge each other, whether it's a hip hop or country guy. No, it's like, well, I'd love to just take some of your genre and just put Pop Evil all over it. So we're constantly taking from other genres and learning, because you can always understand different things that they're doing with melody or sonic palette, what they're doing with their drums and their bass, their rhythm sections, to just create different pockets that I can weave in and out as a lyricist. And of course, when you add different lyrics to that, you come up with some new things that you bring to your live show and hopefully entertain your fans, where they don't just get the same song over and over and over. Like you take some of our back catalog. We already play Waking Lions in our set. We don't need 2 or 3 more. We probably will give you 2 or 3 more. But it's just, we're trying to constantly think about how we can create new peaks and valleys in our live show that are more relatable to life. And that, to be honest, is the true purpose of Pop Evil. We want to be able to help people through the tough times. I mean, you think about when doctors, parents, loved ones can't be there for us. Who's there? What's there? Music. So music is universal healing thing that we all need, and sometimes when we don't think we need it, it's there, and when you finally listen to that song that you can relate to, you're like, oh, I needed that. So again, there's a responsibility we wear with the success that is so important to us, to just try to be there for our fan base, and especially for fans that aren't fans of Pop Evil yet. We want to bring them in by making new songs that are relatable. I mean, any interview we can say isn't going to bring people necessarily to become lifelong Pop Evil fans, but when they see us live, that's when your lifelong fan is won over. And when you think about all the other genres, there is no other fan than a rock and roll metal fan, because they are with you for life. So they're there with you when you're down and your career is in a bit of a stagnant place. But then when you're there to on the cusp of some big things, they're there to lift you up and help you rise. So we're very grateful for our fan base. We absolutely love them, and we're constantly trying to be better to bring more people in. So, it's an exciting time.
Leigh, you're working on the 6th album, which comes, after the self-titled record, a choice which sounded like, a sort of new beginning for the band. As always, when you present a record with just the name of the band. For the first time also, you brought in some external collaborators to bring out your best and to diversify and expand your sound, as you stated. Why now? Do you feel maybe more than ever, the responsibility of a reconfirmation, of a reestablishment for Pop Evil with this 6th album?
Yeah, those are all, gets back to your initial question with the anxiety, and you're always an album away from going home. You just, this business is always, there's always another band trying to replace you, and you're only as relevant as your last song. So it's stressful, and especially when you have hits and you've had the success we've had, you kind of get your window of time where fans are looking your way, and you want to obviously extend that as long as possible, and so you can become that household name, or that band that's kind of made it in the sense that people know when they hear Pop Evil, they know they're going to get this sound or that sound, so it's that's the struggle and grind. So we really do feel like last album was kind of like a reawakening, but we feel like this album is a statement album for us. Like it's got to be something powerful, and it's an awesome record. I mean, and again, maybe I say it every record, but I honestly feel like this is our best stuff yet, you know. And the reason I say that is every album, I think we get better at listening to our fans and what they want. So even though we do a little bit of experimentation, things that we want to do, we always are listening. Okay, look, you know, we try to be more realistic about where the shows we're playing. You know, if we're in Italy, they want to hear a certain sound. They want to hear us throw down, and they want to watch us throw down and hear those guitar, like you said, the drums so overpowering. It's like, oh my God, you know. And those are little moves we're doing on this album we weren't thinking about. You know, we made sure on the mixes. I've been fighting the battles with labels and certain people about being, no, I don't care about the vocal. Turn my vocal down, turn the drums up. Like, who cares? You know, and those things, I think being a radio band here in the US too, how we started, you know, sometimes in the early mixes, they maybe turn your vocals up, turn the drums down. I mean, that stuff's not going to fly anymore, you know? So it's and again, you get more comfortable about what you want and what the things you want to hold dear to you when you want to release an album. And our band's gotten real great about trusting me, you know, as a front man. And they're only, you know, when they don't write lyrics. So they trust me to know at this point in my career that if I'm not feeling the music, then let's go on to the next song. You know, it's got to start with the front man or that front person to be like, wow, if I'm motivated or I'm moved, then let's investigate. Let's see if there's something there that can make a song special. And we really feel like this album, they're all singles, they're all hits. You know, we tried to weed out what they call B-sides. Sure, there's going to be songs people like more than other, but to us, we wanted every song to feel like if this was on an old Pop Evil album, this could have been a single. So it's a very, very strong album as far as Pop Evil albums are concerned. And we really feel like we're on to the next step to get closer to making that masterpiece of an album, you know? And I think every band wants that, to make that one record where, you know, when you're a grandpa one day sitting and the grandkids come up, they're like, what was your favorite album, Grandpa? I can say, that was the album, that it was perfect. Well, it didn't sell very well, Grandpa. Well, I don't care. That was the perfect album, you know? So it's just, again, there's personal journeys that we have as musicians that, yes, we want to sell out and have legions and legions of fans, but there are those personal things that, like, we aspire to have in our career, and that is the ultimate record. And so we're kind of in the chase for that. I think this album brings us a lot closer, and we had multiple producers on this record as well. Yeah, I think it's very interesting about this album, you know, and I'm sure if you talk to many musicians in the past or people watching or listening, you know, back at home, they can understand that a band, before you ever hear a song, it becomes a demo, you know. And a lot of times on these demos, that's where the real magic is, and they get lost because then you go into find a producer that you look for the one guy that can turn all these demos into magic. It's just very challenging, and then you go into the studio and you have to re-record it. So a lot of times, if I play for you a demo, let's say it's Let the Chaos Reign, which, by the way, that's the demo. We just took what was great about it, and whatever wasn't, we scrapped and we added to it. But the original thing about Let the Chaos Reign was moving people, you know, and it's very hard to impress your family and friends in your close circle when you write demos, because they all have high expectations and they all I love the older ones, or I love this. They all have their favorites. So writing new stuff for your fan is kind of a conundrum. It's a challenge because they don't want to hear new. They like the old, or Took Me This Long to Like Footsteps or Waking Lions. I don't want to hear. So when they like a demo, you know there's something special about it. So by the time I go in and re-record it, sometimes the energy's lost, especially from a vocal perspective. And I don't want to have to recut something that I know is moving me. I'd rather focus on recutting something that we can add to bring more life to the song in a different way. So finally, you know, getting the band to understand and agree that was the way to go, and the managers, we set out on a different way to record this album, which was multi-producer, you know, and we'd never done anything like that. And I think that when you actually do hear this record, hopefully, if it does have this success we all hope it can have, that'll be a true blessing, because they sound very unique compared to, again, without comparing other bands, comparing to our old music. They have a different life and energy that we just haven't been able to capture on our previous albums. You know, when people see us live, and when you see other rock bands or metal bands live, there's such an angst and like a hair on standing up on your arms, like energy to some of these songs when you see us live, that when you see us in the studio, sometimes it gets tamed out and it's a little more polished. We didn't want that this time around.
Okay.
We wanted to make sure that the energy was all there. So we basically took these songs, and whenever the demos were right and they had that it factor or that chill on or the hair standing up on your arms, we stopped and we said, let's just do it. And so we brought the band right there to wherever I was feeling it. And the band trusted me to kind of, when I was feeling it, let's do it. You know, if they had ideas, they could email them to me, obviously the quarantine. So they could email anything to me. And they're just like, Leigh, if you're feeling this, let's roll. So it was awesome to kind of do a different approach on this album. And I think it creates more energy that we were all more excited rather than sometimes 5 of us in a room. We're all sitting there and bored, you know. So it was, I think we were just trying to work smarter on this album, where I really feel like it's a statement internally what we were doing to the end all product, which is just, man, these songs are so they're full of energy and their excitement. And I can't wait for that to translate now to the live show. So it was definitely a unique process, but one that it was very exhilarating and exciting to finally have, you know, demos that have come to life. So we didn't have to recut any of this. It doesn't feel like this has been a washed out version of something we were excited about. And now to see these demos come to life and to see the response we've already had, I think it's only 5 weeks old. So it's exciting, man. I mean, just, you know, we're just kind of sitting back and during this quarantine and who would have thought, you know, when this quarantine's over and we can finally play, it's going to be so weird to finally play these songs and people are going to be singing the words right with us with the day one when we play it on day one. So it's definitely a new normal, but we're definitely excited about embracing that.
So you mean that you've been calling different producers for each song, you know, different genre and a different producer?
Yeah. Basically,
okay,
I'll go right. I go to Los Angeles a lot, you know, and sometimes with the band, I don't really write with the band right away because usually we write right off tour. So I always feel like we need a little bit of a break, and for me personally, and I just kind of go away. And if I hit something, great. If I don't, then we all get together and do our thing, just like a normal band would do. But this was a little different, you know. I was able to go to LA and just kind of sit in the sun and sit with a couple of my producer friends. So, yeah, and that's the thing. You want to be around guys that can hit record, because I'm not a producer, so I don't like sitting around a studio any more than I have to. I want to be outside in the world. I'm on a tour bus to a studio. I want to just live life. So you know, when we were there, so much energy poured out, and if we were feeling it, wherever that energy was born, that's where we finished the song.
So Leigh, work is very intense as the first track that we heard, but it's more experimental and very new. It's a newer piece indeed. Heavy guitars on a special groovy rhythm section, and in the lyrics is the fans, you know, the heroes of the working class, which are struggling today pretty much everywhere. This now includes, in your opinion, also the showbiz camp. I mean, how do you see the post-COVID, you know, for those about to rock, let's say, and for music in general?
Yeah, a lot there. The song, again, it's one of those songs like Chaos Reign. It was written before the virus. So
yeah.
Again, I was in a rut. I just kind of remember it seemed like even my loved ones, all I was doing was having relationships with them on my phone. Like I was always too busy for them. I just needed to kind of sit back and find some normalcy. So ironically, now the pandemic has given me that, but now it's become this kind of cry to arms for the workers here that are out there working during this tough time and putting their lives at risk. So to be able to again motivate people through this music, it's just been incredible how both these two songs are helping in different ways. So again, the experimental side of the song, we absolutely love it. You know, to be able, I know Haley, our drummer, was so excited to kind of infuse her real drum kit with the sound and just get, again, that sonic, the way that's going to hit on stage is going to be heavy, you know, and it's going to be different and it's going to stand out compared to our other songs too. So again, it gives you that diversity to our live show, which I think is really cool. And the chorus is great. Like I think when you think about our past catalog, it's our choruses are very vocal and very wordy. This was an opportunity where I just want the music to tell the story, you know. And again, I have the same amount of love for guitars as most everybody listening, and watching. So again, you know, I just wanted to be guitar heavy. You know, I mean, all I do is work. There's not much else I can say after that. And the guitars take it to show that very similar to that monotony of everyday life, right? It seems like we get in that zone and we just kind of We just walk the part, and the guitars kind of, show that. And then, of course, you get to that really nursery rhyme, old school bridge, which I think is very symbolic to when we were kids. You think about the first music we heard, there were nursery rhymes. So to bring it that 1, 2, 3, we all fall down. It just wanted to bring it back to when we were kids and we didn't have that, those anxieties, or we didn't have that stress. Life was fun. We didn't care about race. We didn't care about color. We just cared about people. If we were at school and it was that person and we were alone, our parents brought us, but there was that friend, it didn't matter what he or she looked like or what skin color they had. We were just excited to have a friend. And I think that, especially during this tough time, to remember, again, our roots. And and what I mean by roots is just remember what it was like to love, pure, no judgment, no thought of social kind of distraction. It was just, hey, people, and I think we really see that now in this quarantine, just how lonely we are. And you talk about the new norm about shows, and we've heard about drive-through shows here in the U.S. Or are we going to play with social distancing? Are they going to let only so many people in the venue? And to be honest, that would be a bummer, because part of being and doing what we love is having people slammed together, sweating, horns in the sky, meeting new people next to you. Oh, you like Pop Evil too? I love them. Well, how long have you been listening to them? I've been listening since 2008. I've been listening since 2010. You remember the first time they came to Italy and played? Those are the things that make the touring lifestyle for musicians so important and so priceless. So it'll be interesting, the new norms. I wish I had the right answers to say. I mean, as musicians, I guess we're going to do it together, and to be honest, if that's where it starts and we're going to play shows with few people, then let's go. Let's get this behind us, and I mean, as things start to reopen, in Italy and here in the States, as they've already started, things are different. And I just I feel like most people do. Let's just take a step outside, take one step forward, one at a time, to just get this behind us. I mean, every new day means less fear. Every new day means more information about this virus. And again, it goes the same thing with the protesting that's going on. It's about educating each other. It's about listening. It's about understanding, and the same thing I think about listening to other genres, again, I get very upset about that phrase, rock and roll is dead. I think it's a bogus phrase. We as a community, a rock and metal community, need to be done with it. We need to take that we need to take a little bit offense to that, because, for so many years you hear that rock and roll is dead and people laugh it off, and I think that's a slap in the face to the people that come to live shows. It's a slap in the face to our crew guys that don't work unless we tour, that are struggling. What do you mean rock and roll is dead? If rock and roll is dead, then the people behind the scenes that make rock shows and metal shows go on so us as fans can enjoy the music, those people are struggling right now, even more so than the ways that we like to think, so rock and roll is very much alive for them. And again, I think it's, again, about loving, educating, and listening, not just from people and fans, but from the musicians themselves, like getting out there and telling the fan bases about what our struggles are, about being able to be relatable, to be like, wow, I feel like that too, or I'm going through that too, to tell them, we're just as scared. I'm just as scared to go out on tour and be in a tour bus crammed with all my bandmates. Are they going to have the virus? Am I going to get sick? So as things start to kind of open up, I definitely know we're not scared, though. We're ready to kind of go. And obviously every month that we're not playing creates more excitement for these shows. But again, we're just one day at a time trying to figure it out. But as soon as things start to look like we can play, I'm excited for managers and label to give us a shot to let's do it. If we're going to play for 50 people, and they're going to be all separated and spread out in the venue, then let's go. Let's just get it over with and get one step closer to getting these places full and sold out again, so we can all do what we love. And but hopefully these new normals are going to create more opportunities like this to do Skype calls. I mean, before all the quarantine, I had no idea how to. You saw me; I was a little slow trying to get on. I'm like, "Can you hear me?" So I'm still very new to Skype and Zoom and all these social media interactive Q&As and awesome video chats. But hopefully we continue to do that now, and it creates not only an opportunity for fans to see the band members, but a chance for them to see people like you and people at the station that are doing the things behind the scenes, so people out there can watch their favorite musicians and find out about new songs. Like people like you guys are so valuable, and when they can put a face to it, I think there's more of a connection to be like, yeah, we want to be out there supporting not only you guys, but us as well, and the whole big picture. So I think I hope this stays and continues as the new norms continue. Maybe we can do another Skype call from the tour bus. You already got my lawnmower guy in the background kind of low. I'm like, oh man, here he is doing. But that's the new norm. I'm actually excited, to kind of be home. And I'm never home having my lawn guy. I kind of been paying this guy for years, but I don't know. I've never seen his work because I'm always gone. So it's exciting to just be normal, man, and I can be home for the year, and if that's what it takes. And again, just trying to be positive. And again, I think that's so important for fans. Stay positive. We're not going anywhere. Like, we'll all be back, and we all obviously want it sooner, but we're going to do this together. And forget us being musicians. We're fans. We're fans of the genre. So we're all in this together. Just as much as you want to see Pop Evil or other bands, we want to see us play. We want to see other bands that we love play. So. We just got to stay positive together, keep these chats coming, and every person, for one person to hear this and make a difference and keep them motivated. That's what it's all about. So one person at a time. They can doubt us, they can put us on the back burner, they can put us in the gutters, but rock is very much alive, and we're coming straight at it, right to the top of the mountain, screaming from the mountaintop. So I'm one of those pioneers for that. So you'll hear my screams.
I heard that you had 30 new songs in pre-production, and it seems that you've been very inspired, and you told us about the magic of these demos. So I believe it's true that you had a lot of material, and so 12 songs made the final cut. Yeah. If I'm correct. So what criteria did you use, for the final choice of the definitive 12 songs, and what will happen to the other ones?
Yeah, it is a great question. Simple though for the criteria. They had to be bangers. I mean, they had to move me, and I think that as you get further in your career, nobody knows the crowd in our fan base like I do. I'm there singing to them with a microphone every night. So if I feel like I can take that song to them and we can do this together with the fans and take this song live to the next level, then I didn't want to do it, and again, I think that, we've had so many experimentations we've had with songs that we've released and put out that maybe came up short in our hopes and aspirations, and we just don't want to go down those roads again. It's like we want to put songs out that, especially with our set list now, and I think that's a challenge worth noting, that when you have 5 albums out, you have songs you have to play. If you don't play those songs, you have some pretty, and especially, if we're there over your way in Italy there, to not, just because we're sick of the song doesn't mean you guys have got to hear it live several times. So we have to be very respectful about, where the stream's looking at on Spotify. I mean, that's the new norm for us, right? We have to check out where the streams are going, because Spotify is very helpful because it's worldwide. So you can see, okay, well, these are our top 10 songs on Spotify. Maybe those should be considered for our set list rather than the songs that might be working here in the US. So it's important to be looking at all those factors and to truly, it all comes back to the set list. So if we're only going to be able to add, and again, we have 12 new songs. I mean, we're not going to be able to play all 12 of those live, or there's going to be some pretty upset fans that we didn't play Waking Lions or we didn't play Footsteps and some of our big hits. So you got to kind of juggle those, that if we're going to break it up, if we're going to actually put a new song into our set, we have to make sure that they're incredible songs and that they're going to hold up to our back catalog. Because again, it's not so much about if the song's better. It's once you release a song, it is public domain. It is no longer ours. So there's plenty of songs we maybe don't like anymore, but our fans love them. So again, they are not ours. And people that come see us spend hard-earned money to come see us. So it's their show. And we try to be very respectful and responsible to give them the show they want to hear us play. So it'll be challenging how we can juggle every new album, how we can put new songs in. But, that was kind of their criteria base, that all 12 of these songs needed to be no gimmicks. They had to be the full speed ahead, awesome songs that when you heard them on one listen, you could be like, oh, wow. Whether you liked it or not is your business, but at least you could be singing it. If you gave it an honest shot, you're let the chaos reign, or all I do was work. It's just one listen. You should be able to say that. If I didn't, then we didn't do our job. So as far as the other songs, yeah, we held some stuff. I mean, there's songs that I feel like if a certain song reached a different, if we already reached that, I guess if we already reached you vocally through that motivation, or that song already kind of touched on that, then if a song had similar kind of motivation, then we held it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to have a bunch of songs saying the same things, but there's definitely a handful of songs that are amazing, and they give us a great head start going into the 7th album. You know, whether they make the album or not, we'll see. How you're always trying to outdo your last song, but you know, it's been something. You know, being honest, it's been a challenge. You know, it's like if we have 12 songs on the record, we only wrote 13. You know, so it's like, then you know, we start from scratch every album, and it's stressful. You know, and again, you're not trying to work harder; we're trying to work smarter. You know, we're getting older, and like I said, the amount of songs new that we can add to the set list, that window is getting smaller. So we want to work very smart now moving forward on the songs that have to make the cut. So again, having a handful of songs now when we start the 7th album, it's going to be great to know that it's not all the pressure's not on me right off the bat in the band to come up with some miracles to lead the way. And it's a stressful time. You know, before work was, I think when we started the writing process, when I started it, work was probably 6-7 months in. So, you know, we had no idea before those songs were written, like, okay, what's going to be possible song. And again, when work was first written, we had no idea that was going to be the lead off single here in the US. And even still, again, with what Pop Evil does, we're kind of like one of those rare bands that we are the duality. We're we're the only band that can, you know, give you one song completely left and then swing it to the total opposite far end of the right side of the spectrum and make it work. I mean, there's not many bands that can do that, and we're not afraid to do it. And I think that's a testament to my voice. You know, I grew up in Michigan, and it was all about Kid Rock and Eminem, and it was all that, or Bob Seger or Kiss. You're just flowing back and forth from one way that if you didn't understand it, you didn't get along with most Michiganders, because that was our way growing up. So Michigan's very much influenced my writing style, and probably why you get that duality in Pop Evil, you know. So again, having more songs now to know that we can start off this next writing process is exciting, and we know we got some pretty big ones that we held off on. So again, you know, but I'm always hard on it, and I'm like, no, I don't want any of those songs on the album. I'll write all new anyway. So we'll see what happens. But again, we're very proud of this 6th album. We feel like it's our statement album, and we feel like it's going to be our biggest one yet. So we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens. But again, super stoked that the management and the label were all on the same page about releasing these 2 songs at a time. You know, it was we do, for people, especially when you release an experimental song, we want to remind people that we don't have an album full of one experiment. This is an experimental album, man. This is a very heavy album, and it's a very rock metal inspired album. But we're Pop Evil, called Pop Evil for a reason. That we want that yin and yang. We're that plus and minus of the business, you know. And there's a lot of people out there like us that you know. I mean, if I was listening to Rage Against the Machine nonstop forever, I just needed to put it up and listen to Pearl Jam for a minute. You know, I mean, I was like, I needed that. Sometimes I'm not angry. You know, I want to just be. I want to. Don't call me daughter, not fade too. I just wanted to sing some PJ, you know what I mean? I just wanted to hear a vocal melody, a melodic singer sing. So again, we try to keep it very inspirational and very relatable to life. You know, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're sad, sometimes we just don't know. And we need that bit of motivation from music to swing us one way, to be like, yeah, you're right. I am feeling good today. I am ready to go. Thank you for that song. All I do is work. I mean, I do work a lot. You know what I mean? We want people to be able to relate, and especially during this tough time that, you know, we need inspiration more than ever. So again, I don't want to say too much while you're translating, but that's kind of the
okay. Time is up.
Time is up. No problem. Stay safe, everyone. Stay safe.